Hey, check
Dirty
this out.
working.
Me and Matty was talking about the topics he sent.
Yeah.
So he likes this one, confidence versus arrogance.
That's a good one.
I agree.
For at least one of them.
Yeah, Carl's really arrogant, and I just have confidence.
I'm confident that Carl's arrogance is fucking up the show.
It's the Heckleproof Comedy Podcast with Zach Bolton and Carl Lee and Matty J.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Heckleproof. I just want to say Happy New Year. Which one is? Let me see. Happy New Year. What applause?
I was trying to figure out the soundboard.
That's not it at all.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
You didn't turn this one off like I told you, like a stupid idiot.
Happy New Year.
Stupid
Oh,
idiot.
don't give him any buttons to push.
I know.
Guys.
Don't push my buttons.
Don't do it. But if we were going to push buttons, we would push the following buttons, which are our sponsor buttons.
Following sponsor buttons.
Which is Chadwick's Pub, Road Regency Inn, and also Hawaiian Hut.
Yep, and we have a couple of new sponsors. One of them being Courthouse Family Fitness. It's a local fitness company here that Carl and I actually attend.
Those arms sponsored by Courthouse.
Yeah.
I'm sponsored by Courthouse.
Yeah.
And we also are excited to welcome on board the Point Pub and Grill.
Point Pub and Grill.
Cheers, mate.
Delicious food out of Central Point.
That's right.
And
And
Medford, they have the Medford
South
location, too.
Medford, and they're going to open up another location soon.
Another one right across from the courthouse, actually.
And they got some bomb-ass food.
Did you just double sponsor up?
Double up.
Zach's getting extra checks. Zach's getting extra checks. And of course,
Not supposed to know about that.
Road Comedy Underground also in the
Represent.
building. So welcome back.
In Matty's Joints.
We don't have a guest today because we scare them off.
We scare them all.
We do.
Yeah.
You know, after the last few, it's been real hard to get people on the show.
Been difficult. Levi really scared everybody off.
He really did. See, the ratings were so high on Levi's episode that most of the guests were like, nah.
Yeah, it was one of those things where
How do you follow the goat, you know?
the goat, the goat. That reminds me of Waiting, the movie Waiting. You've seen Waiting, where they do like the bat wings and the goat. They tuck their balls.
That
behind their
movie
legs.
is so underrated, and most comedians haven't seen it. And
I haven't.
It'll
You
kill
gotta watch it. It's hilarious.
The Waiting?
It's called
Waiting.
Just called Waiting.
Waiting.
Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
sequel that's really shitty that you shouldn't watch. But
Oh,
the-
wow.
There's
first
two
one.
sequels.
Oh, there's two.
Yeah,
I just
they-
know Still Waiting. Is that the second one?
There's like a third now.
Waiting
It's really
again.
bad.
Also,
Yeah.
more
Still
waiting.
Waiting.
Still more waiting.
Well,
Take
I think
a
it's
number.
actually
It's called
called
Take a
Still
number.
Waiting.
Yeah.
Still also waiting.
But the original one, it's a phenomenal movie for those of you who are hearing this for the first time. Waiting is about what goes on behind the scenes with like a chain restaurant crew.
Yeah.
And as a person who's worked in food service for a few years, getting my career going, if you will, that was some of my first jobs. I cannot stress how accurate this film is. It's
Yeah, I remember that flick. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
And I don't want to spoil it. I like that you said, just think about the word goat and batwing, and we're not going to say what that means, but watch that movie.
Nope.
The goat and what?
Bat wings.
Batwings.
Batwing. Batman got
Given-
a wing sword.
Watch, Carl.
giving
You obviously
somebody
haven't
a
seen
bat
that.
wing.
Batman got a restaurant.
Right.
Y'all want somebody to eat
There's
bat
that new
wing?
Batman coming out with
We got some bat wing.
Robert Pattinson. Have you seen that preview for that?
We got Robin wings.
Okay, Carl's stuck. Carl's broke. We
Bat
gotta
wing.
let him get it out.
I like bat wing.
He's broken.
He always, hey Carl, do you remember Bat Wing? I
It could be
like
worse.
Bat Wing. Hey Carl, Bat Wing. You mean that Bat Wing?
That's what I'm gonna say next time I go in a restaurant. What you mean y'all ain't got no bat wing?
Right. Is it because of the
I
supply
ain't coming in
shortage?
here. I like bat wing.
Have you seen Anchorman 2? The second Anchorman?
I can't remember if I
Oh, that's in there. He's serving bat wings out of his chicken shop. It's the guy that did the sports thing, you know? And he's like, these aren't bat wings. He's like, you know what they call bats? Chicken of the cave.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's right.
literally
Chicken
no
of
one
the
calls
sea.
it that. And
like
like,
chicken of the sea.
yeah, Will Ferrell's all eating it, and he's like, I mean, look at this. And he's like, he flaps it because it's got a wing. It's all fried up.
But you know it's funny you said chicken of the cave. It took me forever to realize that starfish, was it Starkiss, that fish, tuna fish?
Yeah.
When they say
Chicken of the sea. That's
it took me
Yeah, that's
forever to realize what they were saying. Yeah, as a kid, you just hit it from a commercial, you like chicken of the sea.
You're like, that makes no sense.
No
Carl's like,
sense.
the hell it is. I know my chicken.
And then they just
Because
they
that's like
compare.
saying that if you eat chicken.
I was too young
if
to
you eat-
realize that's what Negroes do, Zach. I didn't know at that age that we were
It's also great because it works in the reverse. Like it implies that chickens are tuna of the land.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had tuna of the land?
we got a company to start now.
And I'm like, chicken in the sea, like, them motherfuckers drowning chickens.
They can only swim. They can only swim for so long.
Chickens cannot swim, pimpin'.
Carl becomes an environmentalist because he misread a slogan.
Like now. I'm gonna become a environmentalist now.
Chicken in the sea. No, that is not right. You should not be drowning those chickens.
Exactly. I'm the only one out there looking for drowning chickens.
Chicken of the sea.
But sequels, man, I don't think people should do too many. The sequels game is
hard. It's hard to make a good sequel.
Because speaking of sequel, guess what movie I just went to see? Took my lady to see I think it's their third one.
What is it? I just
Scream.
That's not the third one. That's the sixth one.
God damn! See how far behind.
Scream 6, and it was not good.
Oh, you saw it too?
It was terrible.
Yeah. So we just fucked it up for you.
I see where they were trying to go with it, but the acting was horrible. They killed off like a main character that they shouldn't have killed off.
Yeah, I didn't like the way he died. Do we?
Yeah, they shouldn't have done that. That was like he was a legend.
He was.
David Arquette.
He was.
Sorry for the spoilers.
That's all right.
Matty not gonna watch that shit
It's
anyway.
all right.
I tried to send Levi on a wild goose chase.
But he had
What is
that.
he looking for?
He's looking for a lighter for me.
Oh,
But that's hilarious. But
That's
Dewey,
key.
but Dewey was
there's an
fucked
app
up.
you can use.
There's an app.
Yeah, it just
To
spits
light your
flames out
joints.
your headphone jack.
I actually think
One of these.
Levi. I think it's in my jacket on the bed. It's a trick to get him to go.
It's
in
in
there.
between the mattresses.
Well,
It's
there's a
hidden.
few. I just don't want to send you
It's
even
in the most
deeper
random
into the-
spot. You have to undo the fire alarm.
Do
It's
you
in
guys
there.
realize that
First of
Levi,
all, you got to offer something to the boatsman to take you across the river to get to the bedroom, and then
you realize Levi is wearing a Levi's t-shirt?
Yeah, he really is trying to get sponsored.
He's wearing that's like me wearing a Carl's Jr. Like,
Oh,
ah,
hit my ear.
hit your face.
I like it's
Carl's Jr.
Carl's non-affiliate. Thank you. Just what a good producer. Thank you. I could not do this episode without.
Levi and Weed.
I was going to say
Welcome back,
weed, but yeah, without
Levi.
Levi
Both of
too.
them.
Yeah, both of them.
Both of them.
Welcome back, Levi.
I find
Oh no, Levi. Oh, Levi. Oh,
Man.
Levi.
The yellow one. The yellow one.
this is.
The yellow one.
It's not
Oh,
supposed.
there, Levi.
Told you I'm wearing it.
It's not supposed to be comedy because you don't know how to work the gear.
Carl changed him.
I changed them.
Carl changed him. What's up?
Yeah, that's what we need. Levi the.
Here comes the.
We don't have a goat, but I don't know. We can get some Fleetwood Mac vocals in there.
We should bring a random pet on each show. Like a goat one day, and we got a pig.
I know. Hey, shit, that would be dope.
That would be funny. Have you seen the skit with Andy Samberg on Saturday Night Live? He's acting like Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg talks to animals, and he goes up to him. He's like, "Hey, goat, how you doing?" He's like, "I'm Mark Wahlberg. I produce Entourage."
That's dope.
So funny. He's like,
That's
"All right,"
hilarious.
and every time he ends it with, "Say hello to your mother for me, all right?" It's so funny.
That's hilarious.
And he goes over. He's like, "What's up, Goose? How you doing? I like your hair. I'm Mark Wahlberg.
I see you over there
I produce Entourage."
doing goose things.
People don't realize that he was Marky Mark the rapper.
Yeah. He used to boost
This
cars.
motherfucker was Marky Mark
He
in the
was
Funky
feeling-
Bunch. It's
he
the
was-
good vibration.
He was a
he was
criminal.
Come on.
Come on. Come on.
He was white people's LL Cool J.
And he was.
Yeah.
He sure was.
And
He
then
was-
his brother,
He was our Wish version of LL Cool
his
J.
brother Donnie was New Kids on the Block.
Yeah, but what he used to model? What?
Yeah,
Calvin
Calvin
Klein.
Klein,
Yeah.
that little fucker.
Right? You've seen his movies. You've seen his music. You've seen his package.
Seen it all.
You've seen it all from
Exactly.
He's a triple threat.
It
See,
sounds
the
like he has a documentary coming out about Mark Wahlberg. You've seen his package.
From the man behind the package.
And the Funky Bunch was not referring to his group.
Oh,
The Funky
The
Bunch.
Funky Bunch could have
It was
been.
actually the group was actually Marky Mark and his Funky
The
Bunch.
Funky Bunch
That's what I'm
sounds
saying,
like.
but it's
his
not.
Funky
They're not his Funky Bunch. Oh,
It sounds like that was the runner-up name for Fruit of the Loom. You know what I mean? Like the second choice would have been the Funky Bunch, but somebody stepped in and they're like, nah.
I think, man, that's a good point. I think that would be an accurate name for
Because who approved that shit anyway? Like, imagine you're in that meeting. You're the marketing team, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, we need a name for this underwear. And somebody's like, go with me on this. fruit
How'd that come up? I
of the loom.
Yeah, I wonder how that even
So
happened.
You know,
we
which
talk
makes a
about
lot of
the
sense.
Fruit of the loins.
Fruit of the loins.
Because a loom is something you sew with. So I never understood like fruit of the. It's like, okay, the fruit's growing from the loom.
From the sewn area.
It's too much visual dangling things.
No,
for
I'll never
something
see
that's
that
underwear. Yeah, the fruit.
I just
of
wear
the,
Calvin Klein's.
It's too much
because
visual.
of Marky Mark
That's hilarious. You
and his
weren't even
funky
around.
bunch.
I like that would be a dope concept for some underwear, the funky bunch, because we know. Think about it. For
I think you
men,
should rephrase that differently.
no,
That's
the funky bunch, because your shit gets
the
funky down
bunch.
there.
Do your balls stink?
No, it does.
Grab a fresh pair of the funky bunch.
It does.
It's just like
It
aerated
wicks,
underwear.
It wicks away the
It
air.
does. You must don't do a nut check, huh?
My shit clean.
Man, whatever. You walking. You got a funky bunch right now. I can smell it.
Bro,
You got a goddamn funky bunch popping off right now.
I get
Funky
under there with the
bunch.
loofah. I get under there with the
Funky-
loofah.
In the
You get a
beginning,
loofah?
I got the loofah down there. I'm just scrubbing away.
in the beginning of this
Well-
episode, we had an idea of what it might be.
This is-
and I feel like this is so far
This is the joy of
surpassing
our
what we
episodes.
even thought it could be.
This is
Well-
why we wanted to shoot with just us, because we go on these weird
Yeah,
tangents.
I know I got a funky bunch. I know what my lady.
I
One
know
time,
my balls stink.
One time, my lady was like,
That's because you refuse to use a loofah.
My lady did one of these.
You just in there scratching
like,
with your fingernails or like a washcloth.
That was the
thinking
most
easy.
embarrassing shit though. But she did one of these.
Why is that? Like,
What's that?
there's different people, man. There's washcloth people
Yeah.
and there's loofah people.
Females are.
Yeah.
Don't do the washcloth.
Well, the washcloth
That's not
people
true.
are usually
It's
50 and
regional.
older.
Not a lot of them.
And
It's
the-
regional. It's weird.
It's regional.
It's
What
a
the fuck?
regional thing. It's where you grew up.
regional.
Explain this to me, man. So
Yeah,
if
I
you
don't
grew
know.
up in Mississippi, what do you use?
Use washcloth. No, I'm in the Pacific Northwest.
What
I
do you
use a
use?
loofah.
Food stamps.
Oh, whatever the master gave you, that's what you use. Welcome to Mississippi.
Oh my
We pick your towels.
I gave my cat a new name. You might appreciate it the other day. And my friend's like, "You're not going to say that on the podcast, are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm definitely saying it on the podcast."
What is it? I want to hear this.
Kunta
What the?
Kite.
Oh, you know who that is, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Toby.
Toby.
Fuck, why'd you tell him?
I said it at the same time. I know it is. I'm not 4.
That don't mean
I'm 5.
nothing.
He goes,
but you're not black either.
yeah.
You don't
He
know.
goes, that's like kind of fucked up. That's a fucked up joke. And I go, look at the cat's feet. Because he's ebony. He's got ebony beans.
Well, why couldn't you just fucking call him Ebony?
That's like I
If
like
fucking call him
I like
Ebony,
humor like
that's
that
too
because
direct.
it's funny. It's like really close,
comedian.
but it's funny. It's like, oh, should I say this? But I'm going to.
You're saying it's close to funny?
No, it is funny. It's just like some people would be like, I don't know, that's okay. But
Too
I did the same
offensive, you
thing.
mean?
I started a basketball team for City League, and I tried to put in my team name, and they wouldn't let us do it. I did it, Make a Swish Foundation. I thought that was funny.
That is funny.
I thought that was funny, and it was like, that's funny, Carl. Make a Swish Foundation.
What's wrong with that? That could
They
also
were like,
work
no,
for
you're making
mouthwash.
fun of Make a Wish, and I'm like, no, it's
It's sponsored by Listerine. Make a Swish Foundation.
Make a Swish. Make a Swish Foundation.
Make a swish.
Remember in school they give you the fluoride? Make a Swish Foundation.
Hell yeah, they did. I remember those
I
days.
don't fuck with fluoride.
Yeah, they didn't do that to
They
him.
didn't do. They didn't give a
It
fuck
was a
about
weird
them.
day.
No, they did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Did they tell you about it? Because with us, they didn't tell us about it. It was like they fucking sprang it on you, and they didn't tell
gave it
us
to you.
Yeah.
ahead of time. And when
Yeah,
fluoride day
exactly.
came, I remember the first time it ever happened. I was in, I don't know, grade school or whatever it was, and fluoride day came, and they didn't warn us. And the next thing you know, they lined us up, and they didn't tell us what we were lining up for.
That's
It's
what
like,
they would thought.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, what
man.
is going on?
Yeah.
They line us up, and then you get up to the thing, and they have this little cup, and they're like, here. And you're like, what is this? And they just were like, it's good for your teeth.
Yeah. Yep. No, they did the same thing. I think they didn't do that after the 90s.
You know, nowadays, if they did that, what parents would do.
Oh, my
The pickets
gosh.
that would happen, and the conservationists
Yeah.
would come out of the woodwork, and you'd have protests outside of the.
Man, hell
You made
yeah.
my baby swallow what from that cup?
Exactly.
That better not
Exactly.
be COVID
You're
juice.
gonna
That's
take
demon
my
juice.
baby gums.
Right.
So, when did they start passing out condoms in high school? Was that your generation?
That was
post
90s.
shit?
That was 90s.
Yep.
I don't see a problem with that though. I mean, if you're
don't.
gonna do it, at least try to be
Here's the
protective
thing.
of it.
I don't know if they should pass them out or if they should just have them available.
I think they should just have.
I think
them
they should have
available.
them
I don't think it
available
should be like
because-
here for all your fucking needs.
Because what if you're not thinking about it yet?
And it puts it
you're
in your
just
head,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah. Then they hand you this
You're
condom,
pressure,
and you're like,
God, I gotta find someone to fuck.
oh shit, I guess it's that
I
time.
gotta find,
Yeah.
that's
Gotta
find
pressure.
someone to fuck.
I wasn't even
Fucking
thinking
pressure.
about
This is
this.
due on Monday.
I
have
gotta
to fuck
use
someone.
this. I
I have to
gotta
find
use
somebody to
it.
fuck by Monday.
Before
Because
this,
they looked at the back expiration date. It's Monday.
Those shits don't expire until like I've seen some that are like expires 2036. I'm like, how really effective is this?
Yeah, hell no.
Right. Can you imagine
Just
using that
disintegrates.
condom? Like you open it and powder just
Powders come out. You put it on.
Looks like an airbag deploying.
dehydrated lube in the air.
An airbag deploying. Just
Exactly.
Because I
Your
don't
dick just
remember.
got saved.
I don't remember like girls getting pregnant when I was coming up. You didn't have a lot. You had a
That's because they didn't tell you.
right.
Don't tell Carl.
so Carl.
Reverse black dad. He's gonna want to keep
But
it.
I
I
mean,
want to
like-
get rid of it. If
but
you
I
tell
mean, like-
Carl, we're gonna have to keep it.
But I
do
mean,
not-
like
I
in
do not
high
wanna
school,
support
like
that.
in junior high school, I didn't see much of that.
Right.
Condoms?
Girls getting pregnant. We didn't use condoms back then.
No, here's the fucked up thing. In junior high, they had a daycare.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Where? Oh, I'm just
Where I went to
fucking.
school.
Of
No,
course.
it was a thing.
Eagle
It was a
Point,
thing,
right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was
That makes
middle
sense.
school?
at the point there was two girls that were at the end of middle
you a
school
baby boomer,
who
or
were
is that-
always or already they were
were
perpetually
always
pregnant,
pregnant,
just
like,
dropping
God
babies
damn.
out every season.
Seasonal.
Just the new season
It's
of
that
babies.
It's
season.
May. Here comes the
Exactly.
babies.
It's May.
Just popping them out like salmon, just no.
The babies are coming.
But there were two girls that had babies before the end of their last year in junior high, and so they had some weird program.
In junior high, when you were a kid, was 8th grade still, right?
7th and 8th.
7th and 8th, yeah.
Yep.
So
And-
it's still the same when I was.
And so they had some program for these girls so they could still go to school. And then there was somebody that like watched the kids or something. I don't know
So
exactly.
these like
how it worked.
13-year-olds just popping out.
But
babies.
I remember that blowing my mind. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Girl. But you know, in hindsight, after having been a parent,
Yeah.
like to be done in your 30s.
That right.
mean,
you're still
yeah.
in your
Yeah,
prime.
it's
That's
such
your
a-
prime. That's your prime.
Right. We
You're
talked
done
about
in your
that
prime.
before. Yeah.
Yep.
So like, you know, at the same time, it seemed really scary when I was in high
Yeah.
school. Like, can you imagine having a kid? But now in the hindsight of it, it's like, can you imagine being done at 35?
yeah. Good point. Do you remember?
Yeah, if I was 13 when I had a kid, my daughter would be 17 right now.
Right.
Did you ever have when you were a teenager? Did you ever have a scare that a girl got
yeah.
pregnant?
No. I was like really
Careful.
over petrified with, you know, I was like, I'm not gonna nut
I didn't-
anywhere
yeah, I didn't
near
have a
you.
scare when I
I'm
was
gonna go into
younger.
the next room.
I feel like
I'm gonna withdraw and
Matty
walk around to the neighbor's house and nut
feel
over
like
there.
after
Daddy holding it. He walked over.
Yeah.
Excuse me,
After
Miss
high school, I
Johnson.
had a
Right.
scare.
You know what I actually did? I pulled out and then I put my hand over the vagina just in case any was gonna squirt back in somehow. I'm like,
just crawls in there.
No, you did not.
We're
Look,
gonna have this baby.
I turned the vacuum cleaner on and just nutted into the vacuum. Just suck it away from her vicinity.
I would just take off both condoms and just finish
both.
somewhere.
Both.
Both condoms.
See, Matty, because Matty was.
I went to great lengths not to get girls
exactly
pregnant.
like, but so many. Man, I just remember like you going into it so.
But I also like the
ignorant.
idea. I shouldn't say girls. It wasn't like there was a lot. You know, it's like, oh, there was so many. I avoided getting pregnant. That's not. It's not like that. But I just mean to say, I didn't have close calls because I was petrified
Right.
about being a parent, and I didn't want to be a parent, and especially not at that age.
Yeah, and it's like going into it. I remember, man, when you were young, you don't have any clue of how the anatomy works, what it's all about. The you know the egg, the sperm. You just know.
Well, some
This
of
is
us,
what you trying to do. I'm trying to fuck.
some of us were lucky enough to have health class have hit
Shit.
before they had sex, and then others of us had sex before we even went into health class.
Yeah, I didn't. We didn't.
So we
have
went into
health
health
Try
class
to act
going
like
like,
we-
oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Try to
That
act
was
like we know what's
supposed to
going on
happen.
too. Yeah.
My health
Yeah,
class.
you were just faking it till you
Yeah.
make it, you know, literally.
my health class was my mom.
Yeah.
My mom started realizing
That was not healthy for me.
I was coming of age.
My mom was too vague about it. Like she wanted to talk to me.
Not Cynthia.
Yeah, she wanted to talk to me, but also she didn't
your
want
mom's
to have
name
to talk
Cynthia?
to me.
I never knew your mom's name. Cynthia.
My mom, I'll never forget, man, when I was young,
Say your name, say your name.
my mom came in the house and I was sitting on the steps in the house, on the steps with a girl I was dating.
How old were you?
I was about 18.
Okay.
My mom was like, "What you doing with erection?" I was like, "Oh, I was just gonna take it outside."
Get something. I'm just taking it out.
Oh no, we about to take it to the store and get.
What you
get some
doing with
ice cream or
erection?
something. Just-
I mean, I was gonna take
Man,
it
she
outside.
was like, "What
and
you doing with an erection?" And the girl was sitting right there. She was like, "Ooh."
It must be nice to have people know when you have an erection. That's crazy.
Well, because because
What exactly are you?
what the fuck does that mean, Zach? Hey, mom.
What do your shit
Thanks
goes
for noticing.
What does your shit go inverted, Zach? Like, oh, nobody notices when I got because I get an internal erection.
Thanks,
No, it's
Mom.
funny. I like to make jokes about it. It's
Thanks for noticing, mom.
funny. Thanks, mom.
That was the most embarrassing.
Carl, what you doing
ever.
that big old black hard dick? What you doing with that shit?
I remember at that age, that would have been the most embarrassing thing ever. If somebody had noticed, you'd have been like,
Yeah. Yeah, but my mom noticed that shit. Man, my mom.
What you doing, erection?
My mom was.
what you
hot.
doing walking around
I can't imagine like my
Carl?
grandma or somebody asking me that.
Shit, cause my mama didn't fuck around. She came in the house and knew.
Shit, you're lucky she didn't walk up and just flick you in it.
That was
one of those moms like, what are you doing? Get that out.
You were
No,
just you're like
Take it down.
the
you're
power
haunted
of the
forever,
Lord.
yeah.
I expel
Get that
this
blood.
from my house.
Cut
every
that
time
blood
you
flow
can't even,
out.
you can't even get erections no more. That's how
Cut
you get
that
ED.
blood flow out.
She'd take off her sandal like a Mexican mom and
Cut
start
that
just
blood
beating
flow.
on the
The chancla.
chunkler.
Pop. She had some groceries in her hand and shit walking the house. Cause she knew we were
Still
like
beating
making
your ass.
out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
knew we were making out. My mom didn't play that
What you
shit.
do? I was just gonna take out the trash.
Yeah, with the direction.
But you know, your mom would have said some like really harsh shit. She would have been like, "Looks like you're trying to take in the trash."
Oh,
Actually,
my mom will say.
Carl,
because she knows that would make the girl go away.
My
You know
mom
what I mean?
did not fuck around. She was so the realest shit. Cause my mom was a teenage mom twice,
Yeah.
so she understood what it was about. But she was not a joke. She didn't give a fuck. She
Carl,
kept it
actually,
so real.
you were gonna leave that musical group you had and start one by yourself called One Erection. I thought, right?
One Direction.
One erection.
Yep. So that was
That was a lot of setup for a very little
I
amount
was
of
trying
time.
little.
to say it. I was trying to say it. There goes my
He
baby.
never lets me do it.
There goes my baby with that One Erection he had.
That one.
But she was my
She flicked it. You never
I
got
only
one
get
again.
one a year.
She flicked it. You never got one again.
But she was my sex education teacher. She was the real deal, man. So she used to. I remember when she first set me down to start talking about it, and I'm looking at her like,
how did she bring it up? Like, was it just like, Carl, there's things
Today
that
to
happen.
day. You go learn.
yeah.
When you're gonna get urges, you're gonna feel attracted.
Yeah, it's-
Your body's changing, Carl.
But the biggest thing, this was dope. The biggest thing my mom educated me on was where a man and a woman is coming from sexually and emotionally.
Oh yeah.
The sexual and emotional piece.
That's
But-
important.
Yeah, she broke it down to me.
Yeah,
It's
your
like,
dad never tells you that shit. Like,
'Cause
oh,
I-
by the way, you're gonna fuck her up big time.
I can't believe you didn't
when
talk about this stuff when we had Karina on the show.
What, my dad?
No.
Oh, because I don't know him.
Yeah, we've talked about it several times.
That's
Actually,
sad.
Zach.
Y'all know my dad?
Apparently,
That's
you ain't
sad.
tuned
Y'all
in.
know my dad. He's still looking for milk. What are you talking about?
I think I seen him. He was on
He's
America's.
still going
America's
for milk. He's
He
still
goes
looking.
back with like 100,000 gallons of milk. I finally found it.
He's on America's Most
He
Wanted.
come
I
back
seen
with a
him.
flat basketball. Told you I was gonna get you one. Deflated hoop. A rim with no nets. Told you I had you.
I told you.
Sorry, I missed all them birthdays.
Sorry.
Here's the Teddy
Sorry.
Ruxpin.
But the part my mom told me about
the rock. Pet
but the
rock.
part my mom broke it down to me about the man coming from that physical place of trying to release,
Yeah.
and the woman is a spiritual connection.
Yeah.
with the man.
She's more mental with the women.
and emotional.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't help but realize, wait, my mom was telling me from experience.
Yeah.
Because she's been hurt, giving herself and a man. So I was like, oh, I picked up on that early. Like, so being able to be out there and be aware of that,
Yeah.
man, is like,
So now you're like, I gotta brainwash all these white bitches.
no, you don't.
No,
Just
you
be
don't.
black.
You just have to be there.
be
Just be black.
and live in the Rogue Valley.
What? You ain't take her out to dinner? No, I'm black.
It's a commercial.
I turn the lights
What?
on.
Commercial.
That's my
Cologne.
move. What's my move? Turn the lights
what?
on.
We get a commercial for cologne. Just be black.
Be black.
Right.
By Carly.
By Carl.
Kim Kardashian.
Dude, that's good. We make cologne.
Black semen by Kim Kardashian.
Goofy
Lord.
gray white boys by Kim Kardashian. Can't believe she's dating that dude.
She's not, I heard.
Don't be
I
mad.
heard
No,
she's
she-
not.
I'm not mad.
You're
I'm
mad.
just no. I'll tell you, Pete Davidson has pulled some
Yeah, but you're a little bit
nice
mad.
looking women.
You said, can't believe it. You're a little bit
The-
mad.
you- the
Part
way
of
you
it, 'cause
said
I'm like,
it-
what?
The way
You
you
just
said it,
feel
Like,
it's
he
like,
doesn't even know what's going on half
You
the
just
time.
feel
He just goes with it.
you should have been given a shot. That's all.
Well,
Am I wrong?
well.
When people say that-
I call my girlfriend the Lost Kardashian. So
Well, I'm just saying when people say that, I feel like all they're really saying is, I just wanted to be interviewed also. Like, if you're going to pick him, like, I would
I
have
would
had a
respectfully
chance.
like to be a candidate.
Yeah, if I would have known, I would have had a chance.
I would like Kanye West to be writing diss songs about me,
Exactly.
not Pete Davidson.
I like how he's like, I'm going to beat your ass. Like, isn't Kanye like 4 foot tall?
right.
And Pete Davidson's like 6 feet
6'2",
tall. Like, you can't.
6'2" or some shit.
That's
6'3".
really like Kevin Hart trying to punch Shaq.
But
It's
he
gonna be
weighs.
funny.
But Pete Davidson weighs like 100
He
pounds.
fly away,
And when
yeah.
you take his tattoos off, he's like 98 pounds.
I think
But
yeah,
the difference is, where's
know how tall
Kanye
Kanye
from? originally?
Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago.
Like, Pete
Shot
Davidson,
Town.
Shot City.
We said Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
You owe
Pete
me a
Davidson
dad.
is from
You owe me
Jersey,
a dad.
right? Am I wrong? Pete Davidson's from Jersey.
No, he's from
No,
Staten
he's
Island.
Staten Island.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, his dad died in 9/11. He always
Like, you
makes
think
jokes
somebody
about
from
it.
Chicago is going to intimidate somebody from Staten Island?
Yeah,
Like, really?
I think so. Chicago's much
Chicago's
more
got
harder. Staten
a
Island
big
just got
murder rate.
fucking Vinny from Jersey Shore.
Right, but it's also Kanye. It's going to
That's
be.
all Staten Island got. Fucking
Like,
Vinny and fucking Angelina.
How are you
I think
gonna
that's-
be?
Shore.
How are you gonna
Exactly.
be afraid of Kanye? All you got to do is scuff his shoes, and he's gonna give up.
Or just,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
But
and
Pete,
go away in the
okay,
corner and start scuffing his.
but
Scrubbing
Pete
it.
game. So I'm glad you brought that up because you and I were talking earlier about confidence versus arrogance.
Oh, yeah.
So Pete Davis would tell you straight. Pete Davis would tell you straight up. He's one of the most insecure guys ever.
For sure.
He talks about that.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So he got Ariana Grande, who I didn't know what the fuck that was. I thought it was a burrito. I was like, why is he walking around with a fucking burrito? He
Burrito.
talking to Ariana Grande. I was like, I want a burrito.
Yeah, he was with her. He was with that one actress. Who was it?
I don't know.
Oh no! The lighter went away.
But she's another like A-lister.
Yeah.
And then he comes up with Kim Kardashian, and that was all because she was on SNL, and they sparked off on there.
Yeah.
That was when they started talking, and then they have been hanging out ever since.
But Pete's one of the most insecure. He talks about it.
Yeah, he does all the time.
So what is it about it? Because what does it take? Does it, because we can sit there, oh, he's so confident. I like him because he's so confident. It's like, well, as far as you know.
Well, there's so many
It-
levels of what confidence even means.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like, I think if you're speaking from the dating perspective, what my experience has been, I've had people I've dated who knew their self-worth and knew they were attractive, right? Not necessarily thought they were hot,
Right.
but knew they were attractive, knew their self-worth, had standards,
Yeah.
knew they had something to offer, considered themselves viable, right? So that's a person with self-respect,
Right.
and so that's a certain type of confidence of I carry myself in a way where I respect myself and I have something to offer the world, right? But
Not
then
an
there's
asshole
also
about it.
confidence in a way where it's like, not only do I have those things, but I'm confident that you're going to like me because of these extra things, right?
Right.
And then there's arrogance where it doesn't matter if you like me because
Nobody's got what I got.
I'm the shit.
Yeah,
I'm-
nobody's got what I got.
I'm better than all of you people.
Uh-huh.
And so I think there's kind of phases in the dating world. I think a young girl kind of likes the I don't care. That kind of likes the arrogance a little bit, you know, because
younger
it's-
girls definitely
right. And then
Yeah.
and then as you become older, I think it switches, from
Yeah.
category to category. And I think the same thing is true of men, but in the opposite. I think in the beginning, I think a lot of guys like a super assertive girl,
Right.
when they're young, especially because you kind of need that shit, like somebody to bust your ass.
They
and
kinda
keep you
lead-
on the-
Yeah.
right.
lead
But
the
then
way
as you
kinda
get
thing.
older and you start being able to take care of yourself, maybe
Yeah.
you get a little irritated at somebody always trying to push you because you're like, I'm doing my shit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you switch categories, and now all of a sudden you're
Yeah.
looking for somebody that's in a different category. So, but I think where it applies is in how much people want to be around you.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Because it doesn't
True. That's
matter.
a
It
good
doesn't
point.
matter if you're confident in yourself and you think you're the shit. If no one wants to be around you
You're not really the shit.
because you have so much arrogance that
True. Yeah.
it's taken
That
away.
energy is negative. It's
And the same
it's
thing
true
goes
negative.
in the opposite. If you have no confidence and you project like I don't deserve to be here, people
You ain't gonna be there.
Yeah.
People forget about you.
You won't be there.
Yeah.
So no one
So
likes to be around the victim.
it's like anything else in life. There's always an extreme in what you can be on either side,
Right.
and you're trying to meet some kind of middle that
Yeah.
works for you and feels natural for you. And I think for me, like being a comic, I have to have arrogance. I have to have a little bit of arrogance because if I step on stage and I make a joke like the Kunta Kinte joke, I'm not really entitled to make that
Yeah.
joke technically.
Right.
My arrogance will make that joke, but the fact that it's not coming from the ego will sell the joke
Totally.
Yeah.
because it's like
But I would put
I
that
have
in confidence. I don't think it would
Well, that's
be,
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it's not,
My arrogance allows me to
right.
do it,
Okay. Yeah.
but I sell the joke with
With
my
confidence,
confidence
yeah.
and how I say
There we
it.
go.
Yeah.
You just gave a comedy 101 right there.
You want to be a comic?
That's dude. But I think my confidence came from the fact that I have to believe in me.
Yeah.
Because regardless of, because I experienced being bullied when I was growing up. I was bullied because I was like, mama's boy. I wasn't.
Did you also have people telling you that you couldn't be what you wanted to be?
No.
Or was it more you were different a little bit, so they were?
Yep, exactly. I was in that way because I tapped into early on to my to the creative entertainment piece in me.
Yeah.
I tapped into that. Michael Jackson, when he first came out with Off the Wall album, his first album, solo album, boom. Then I tapped into New Edition, boom. And I tapped into breakdance, and boom, all that just started to, and I loved it.
Those are all good examples of actually confidence versus arrogance.
All that you have to have confidence.
Because if you look at any of those artists, they were all very humble.
Yeah.
Right.
And they should have been arrogant maybe because of what they accomplished. But man, Michael was the definition of not arrogant. No matter what he accomplished,
and
he was very
fucking was famous since he was like 5.
Yeah. And so I'm doing all that. And I was walking around looking like Michael Jackson in the fucking projects. I had the glove. I had all that in the projects. And
asking to get your ass beat.
And people would take your people would take your kindness for weakness because you're not a fighter. You're not and they used to, use me to bully me and all this shit. But I never stepped away from me enjoying who I was because they eventually went on to be in a dope game.
Yep.
Right.
Prison and all that shit. And I moved on to be a successful comedian, enjoy my life, and you know what I mean? So by me staying true, like, no, I'm not gonna stop being me and do what you do so I could be accepted. I was like, no, I accepted me straight up, like I didn't give a fuck. So that's where my confidence came from. By me just staying true to who I was and just kept staying like that. I mean, like, I talk about it on stage too. Like, I got buddies who, like, out of my crew, man, these dudes was straight up, it was during that NWA era. Starter jackets.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Starter jackets.
The Raiders starter jackets.
All that gear. Yeah. I'm talking about gangstering up. I'm talking about, but I'm the only one in the fucking group looking like straight up like boys and men. Denim shirt, khakis, tie, a cane, straight chilling. Or I might have, like boys and men. I'm out there.
You had a cane?
Like Boys to Men. You never seen that?
No, but you had a cane though? Of course I've seen Boys to Men.
Yeah.
You had a cane though?
You know what? Sing it with me, you know it.
I know, yeah. I was more of the Boys to Men slow songs. That was my shit. Like End of the Road, that was my shit.
Well, that was around the same time.
Oh,
but I had that look. That's what I'm saying. Everybody else was gangstered out, but I'm looking like, or I had the fucking.
You know who else was like that? Is CeeLo. His whole career, CeeLo has always had his own look and vibe, and it's kind of that same vibe.
Yeah.
Everybody else, even in Goody Mob, everybody else is thugging out, and here's CeeLo in like a three-piece.
Right. Or wearing a spiritual like guru type of
having like a one-piece
outfit.
muumuu.
Some people it's like that's
nobody
their
rocks a muumuu like CeeLo.
Maybe I'm crazy.
He definitely is crazy with the muumuu for sure.
That make me crazy.
You know what he's like? He's like the Lex Luthor of hip hop.
Lex Luthor.
He's that weird bald guy
does
that
he even make
just
music
comes out of nowhere and he's got weird ideas.
CeeLo is the fucking chocolate Buddha. That's what he looks like.
Chocolate Buddha.
He looks like Morpheus for Buddhists.
Fuck you.
I said I'm sorry for the way I went out and I'm not forget you.
You said no safe.
Yeah, but then you heard that.
I thought we were PG.
You heard that song, that song with him and Timberland, the one I came out to when we did the special. That song.
Yeah.
You hear
CeeLo
CeeLo actually rap for the first time instead of sing. It's like,
which song is that?
Well,
do that?
the Goody Mob stuff, man. He was a beast. He was he was that X factor in Goody Mob.
The song is called "I'll Be Around." And it's CeeLo and Timberland. And I first heard this song actually on Chappelle. There was one episode of Chappelle's show, and they do that song live. And I remember hearing that. It's like, what the hell is that? I never heard it before because I've always heard CeeLo sing.
Timberland's a great producer.
And like the Soul Machine and that album, and that's how I knew CeeLo was always like the guy on the hook and not necessarily rapping. And then this song, like he just bust out this really great, but he does it in a CeeLo way.
Right.
So.
I love when artists do that kind of stuff. Like another Chris
CeeLo's
Brown
like,
can rap. Chris Brown can rap.
Well,
too.
CeeLo is like one of
him?
the only people I've ever heard who's black rap without a black accent. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And it's kind of refreshing.
Yeah,
it's like there's a guy from Jurassic Park with the low voice. He does it.
Yeah, I forgot about that group.
I can't remember his name, but he has like this really, really, really low voice, but it's also very, very white.
He raps?
And he really stands out on the tracks because of that. You know, he's the only guy without the black accent. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I forgot about that group. There's so many much hip hop groups, man. But
there's a lot.
Anyway.
But how about this too? Going back to confidence versus arrogance.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say something about that.
How does
Go
it?
ahead.
No, you good. I was just going back to like what your point was, talking about how with the whole confidence and arrogance thing, and it's like an age, you know how like when the younger, they kind of like younger girls prefer like someone who's a little arrogant or thinks they're better than other people. But
Or daddy.
I mean, you get to the point where when you mature and you get older to like my age, where now it's like I'm 30, so girls are starting to see things for what it is, and
Right, they can see through a lot of that.
yeah, a lot of the
really
bullshit,
fast,
and you attract what you put out too. So if you're an arrogant asshole, you're probably not gonna have a lot of people around you,
right. Or you're gonna have like,
or you're gonna have people that don't have any value around
all the
you.
women on the selling
Yeah.
Beverly
Yeah.
Hills shows.
Yeah, you're gonna have a
that
bunch
style.
of like, well, I don't. This person's useless. They've lived with their mom. They don't.
I think about it like
Nothing wrong
this.
with living with your mom,
Well,
but
like a good example is though, not everything is always such a black and white thing, and arrogance doesn't have to be a
Except
bad
for
thing.
us.
right.
Yeah, and I'm in the middle.
It's true.
I'm like you-hoo. I'm the you-hoo. Oh, sorry.
All right, go ahead.
But no, I mean, here's a great example. Like, all right, so the first time you ever went to a music competition with your group, remember you were talking about that.
Yeah,
Remember your group?
Yeah.
Did you or did you not have to use arrogance to sell it?
We had to use a lot of that, man.
Because you're terrified. It's your first competition.
We would walk around the mall singing.
Yeah.
So we had to have some arrogance.
Yeah.
Oh my
like
God.
It's a very useful
Who the
thing.
hell you think y'all are walking through the mall singing? Like,
You walking through the mall?
Don't nobody know who the fuck you are.
Da-da-doo,
Seriously,
da-doo.
exactly.
Da-da-doo, the very first time.
Exactly. Yeah,
what does this guy
exactly.
do?
Yeah.
We did, man. And so we did that, and that was an arrogance piece because you had to be.
You have to use
Yeah.
it. It's the same thing like if you're a fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to have some arrogance
Well, you have to present that
to
because
play
you,
on.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
You
I
know?
mean, it's like
Yeah.
that. I mean, there's, even with basketball, you have to have a certain like.
I mean, even De La Hoya, who is one of the
yeah.
nicest fighters that ever was,
He
really
he
is.
still
He
used the
really
arrogance when he
is.
needed to.
He's very kind.
Well, you had
and
to.
sweet.
Right. And so that's my bigger point. Like when
I cross dress,
right.
I take pictures in
Yeah,
the
that was only one time, and
It's
that was
okay.
for Geraldo ratings. Okay.
It's okay.
Oh,
Yeah. And those fishnets, he looked good in those fishnets. I mean, I'm not gonna
That's
lie.
that's
I'm
my
not
favorite.
gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. De La Hoya
De La
looked great in the
Hoya was
fishnets.
my favorite boxer of all time.
Still-
Well, that's where I grew up.
Still,
as.
I don't have any problem with
And
it.
Butterbean, I like Butterbean. Butterbean
don't
was fucking
fuck,
dope.
but does
Butterbean
it-
was dope.
Would
was a
it
damn
bother
gimmick.
you? It doesn't bother me at all. Like that doesn't take away from De La Hoya's fights. You know,
No.
like,
Not at all,
when I
not
saw
at all.
him in fishnets, it was more like, man, imagine seeing De La Hoya in fishnets. You're not gonna say nothing.
I mean, look at
What
the
are
way.
you gonna do? Insult him? He's gonna beat
Exactly.
your ass.
Yeah.
You're like, those fishnets look great, man.
and
But arrogance can also be like, especially at that level, it can be such a selling point because you look at guys like Conor McGregor, super arrogant, but now he's humble.
Yeah, let's go.
Mike Tyson,
No,
the
further.
the arrogance,
Ali.
the arrogance of all arrogance.
Muhammad Ali was the number
Mike
one
Tyson-
example of arrogance.
No, Muhammad was, yeah, but
Muhammad
he
was
used
the-
it in such a great way that he
In
could
my
engage the
opinion-
audience with his rhyming and all
In
that
my
stuff.
opinion, he was the most arrogant athlete of all time, outside of maybe Bruce Lee. But
yeah,
it kind of came across as annoying with Bruce Lee, where it came across as endearing
and
and
entertaining
with
with-
Ali,
yeah.
because again, yeah, he was using it in a certain way.
Whereas very creative. His arrogance was so creative that it was just like, people were like, this is just who Muhammad Ali
And
is.
here's why it worked: because you
unique.
wanted to see him get his ass beat. He talked so much shit about never being able to get his ass beat that
Man.
you wanted to see it, so you tuned into every fight,
Right.
even
you
though
wanted
you're,
to see
even though you're
if he
actually a
could back
fan,
that shit up.
Yeah.
Even though you're a fan. Same with Joe Rogan. That's why so many people like Joe Rogan. He
Right.
talks a hell of a lot of shit, and then you're like, oh, can
And
you
that's
really
how I
back
got
it
with
up?
Conor McGregor because he got so he got so popular that people were like, I just want to see this guy get his ass beat because
Yeah.
he's gonna shut up.
Right. And that's where you jump the shark. And that's like the greater point of the whole
Right.
thing is that there's a line that once you cross it with arrogance that you can't come back from it. And we started the show talking about Kanye. Right?
Right?
There's a
Kanye.
great
Before,
example.
okay, before you go to that, though, one thing about all those guys that we talked about, there came a time late in their career, after their careers, where it changed from arrogance to humbleness, and it was just all
Mike Tyson.
You know what I mean? Mike Tyson, very humble dude now.
Mike Tyson.
Right.
Muhammad Ali, I think when
but
he retired,
guess
was
what?
confident and
It
and
means
humble.
It means less though.
Parkinson's to do that.
I was gonna say it means less when it's forced on you.
True.
If they had done that on their own without a DUI or without a major problem,
Well, I
then
think
would
Connor did
respect
it on his own. I think
Good.
Connor did it on his own.
No, Connor didn't.
I
An
think Connor
ass
did it on his
whipping.
own.
An ass whipping.
Well, that's part of the process.
No.
How is that not part of the process?
Manny trying to tell you some shit had to happen for you to humble yourself.
Yeah.
Because Mike Tyson's a perfect example of that.
That wasn't natural, huh?
That was not natural, organic.
That was life.
That was no, I need to cut this shit out.
I came too.
I need to stop doing it. I bit his ear.
Hey, man,
I'm out
you
of
didn't taste
control. I need to stop. I need to reevaluate my life. What am I doing? No. Mike Tyson, okay, I didn't see confidence or arrogance in him right? So what he was functioning on was fear.
Yeah.
Tyson
he was just
fear.
terrifying.
But no, I'm talking about the fear he had in himself.
Right.
Because Tyson, when he was coming
losing
up,
his title
or just being, when Tyson was growing up, Tyson's two things happened to him that he never want to happen again. Somebody took his glasses off as a little kid, threw him out and stepped on him.
Right.
A grown man did that.
Yeah.
And he was like, who just does that to a kid? It was some things that happened that he was like,
sure.
you're never going to do that to me again. Trauma.
For
That's
sure.
it. That's the word, trauma. You're never going to do that shit to me again. So as he's getting older and he's, he was a fighter already.
Yeah.
When he was locked up in juvenile, somebody was like, hey, man, you got to channel that shit.
Yeah.
But a lot of these fighters and stuff too will use arrogance, like you said, to cover up the fear that they have.
Cover up that fear.
They're actually scared to fight, so they're using the arrogance to cover
And
it
honestly,
up.
somebody is far more terrifying when they're not arrogant and you know what they're capable of.
Because you're like, well, I don't. What the fuck are they thinking?
Yeah.
What it is it's almost like they are.
Anderson Silva was
when
like that.
somebody's arrogant.
Yeah.
When somebody's arrogant, it's because they believe, as an athlete, they believe they're going to beat you.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
But when someone's not arrogant and they're super,
I know I'm gonna fuck you up,
and they're super calm and quiet.
Yeah, John Jones was like that before his 18 DUIs and all that shit.
The difference is when someone's calm and quiet like that.
You think
it's because
like,
they don't believe they're gonna beat you. They know they're gonna beat you.
Well, shit,
and
nothing's gonna
that's
stop
the
them from doing
scariest
it.
thing.
Well,
If you ever see those fighters that go into those UFC things and
Not
the
saying
one
a fucking
the
word.
one guy's jumping around like a poodle and talking all this
Yeah,
mad
yeah.
shit, and the other dude's just calm and chill.
better make a bet on that guy.
well, Mike Tyson was like that. Mike Tyson just paced around the ring.
Yeah,
So
Mike Tyson looked like he couldn't wait. He looked like a dog that was like, "Let me out,
You know
let
what
me out," and
you
that
know
was
why
terrifying.
he wanted to get that shit over with.
Yeah, and then we fight in the interview
Because of the fear. Like I want to get this. I just got to win. I don't want to put myself in a situation to lose.
Do you remember that interview after the fight where he was like,
Eat your
he was
kids.
asking, no, he's like, what happened? You like you hurt your back? He's like, yeah, it's my back, spinal, spinal.
That is hilarious. He gave us some hilarious moments.
If you don't believe that there's a higher power that has some sense of humor, then you haven't heard the voice of Mike Tyson versus who he is as a person.
Seriously.
Because if somebody
Big,
ever
scary
beat
guy.
your ass that hard
He
and
has
was
it going.
standing over you and was like, "Yeah, bitch,"
And then
that's even more humiliating. Yeah, you just taste my fist.
But then there was
Taste it,
times when he
taste
wanted to
it.
help you up. Like, get the fuck off me. Then you just
Which mic you gonna get? Which mic you getting?
he would hit you and then come over to help you up. Like, get the fuck off me.
I want to. He seems like the kind of guy that I would want to play a board game with. He seems hilarious.
Like what board game?
With everyday
Not
average
Scrabble.
stuff.
No, I want to play
Shit.
sorry with him because he say sorry, sorry.
Don't play Scrabble.
I want to play sorry with him. Sorry.
But just
Creating his
imagine
own
playing
words.
Operation with Mike Tyson. It would be the greatest fucking day of your
No,
life.
I would like to play Operation with Ali.
I was just gonna say that.
He would lose.
That's just mean. That's just mean. That's like trying to have a
He
slap
be talking
fight.
shit
Man,
while
give
he's
me that
losing. He
goddamn
be talking
game.
shit while he's losing.
Give me that goddamn game.
I float like a butterfly, sting.
That'd be like
I sting like a. I sting like a.
that'd be like Ali and Michael J. Fox trying to play.
Yep.
Freeze tag. Freeze tag.
They're trying to do patty cake.
That would be a good ass game show. Mike, Ali, and Michael J. Fox playing Operation.
Oh my gosh! I used to say that when I leave parties or something. I used to always say I'm out like Michael J. Fox and freeze tag, and people would be like, "That's fucked up," or they wouldn't know
It
who
take them
Michael
a
J.
minute,
Fox
or
is.
it take them a minute, even
Yeah.
though he had Parkinson's or whatever.
Right.
Someone don't fucking know.
They're like, "Oh, that's fucked up."
Why is it that that's such a safe one too? That's like one of the last safe spaces in comedy. Like you will get your ass handed to you if you do a Down syndrome joke. Trust me, done it. I've done it.
say the word
Yeah.
retard.
But at the same time, you could
Yeah.
talk about Parkinson's and people are like, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
why is it
Yeah.
why is it a
They do. They do have
Yeah.
Parkinson's. You're right.
Yeah, they do.
Why is it a pass still? I don't get it.
That's true. I don't
It's the
understand
last
it.
bastion cancel culture hasn't figured out yet.
They're not smart enough.
Man.
Oh, that's actually a disease? Oh, fuck.
Oh yeah,
That's fucked up then.
I thought it was a guy
That's
named
not a
Parkinson.
neighborhood.
They don't just shake by choice? That's fucked up then.
They don't shake by choice.
Shake by choice.
What are they, Chihuahuas? Just shaken by choice.
All right, here we go. Let's go back to that comments thing. Now,
Now,
let me tell you what you
before we
think.
get too deep. All right. So like we talk confidence versus arrogance. We talk about what happens when you jump the shark. So what do you do as a man when you realize you're on the wrong end of it? Because I've been on the wrong end of that a few times, where I catch myself being arrogant.
Tell
when
me
it's
the
not
situation.
a tool.
Tell me
Yeah,
the
it's got to be a certain
situation.
situation.
When it's
Yeah.
not a tool. So like an example is you have a party and you have 20 people over and you're funny, you're making people laugh, and the next thing you know, you've taken all of the conversation for 20 minutes because you were making people laugh and you got a little carried away. And you
You talking
realize-
about our podcast?
You get like on a roll.
you realize all of a sudden, like, I just stole the whole. I'm taking all of the attention away, and I'm doing it on the guise of making people laugh, but at the same time, like, I'm actually making it all about me. Right. So that's like a good example of where as a comic, I've caught myself doing
Just
it.
get carried away.
Like, I don't have to be the light of this party. I can let everybody be funny. Like, back the fuck off. Everybody knows what I'm capable of.
Good
I don't have
insight.
to prove
That's
it.
good self-awareness.
Well, I think that's one of the easier scenarios, something like that, to correct. Because then you can notice and be like, okay, I'm talking a little too much. And then maybe you start asking questions about other people, get them talking more or something like that. Or to where you just check yourself and you're like, all right, chill out. This is a party. Everyone's here.
It's like that internal dialogue has to happen, though.
Yeah,
It
true.
has to.
True. It does.
It has to.
It
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
For sure. It does. Do you have to have the realization where you're like, I'm
Because
talking
I've
too
had
much?
it like the next day and be like, shit.
Yeah, I
You
should
know
have
what
done
I
that.
mean? Like,
Oh,
I wish I
always.
had it
The
night
hangover.
of.
Damn, I probably should have did
hangover.
that. That was too much.
The hangover.
And I've
piece.
done it in relationships where, like, especially if you ever had one of those relationships where you like sort of took it for granted, you know, you get too comfortable and took it for granted, and the next thing you know, you're doing stuff like, oh, I'm always picking where we're eating. I'm always picking what we're watching.
Damn.
I'm
What we're
always
doing,
picking where we're going, and you don't realize it, but it's
don't.
like you've slipped into this arrogant mode of like, I control, I wear the pants or whatever you want to say, you know. But in reality, like, you just kind of taking all the thunder.
Yeah.
You're just kind of
Yeah.
being an asshole.
And yeah.
Right. So those are two instances. where
Controlling ass bitch.
I've definitely caught myself doing that before, or maybe in a conversation where somebody's talking about something that's really important to them, and you maybe gloss it over because you're not interested in it. And then in hindsight, you go, you know what? That person was like, they were really excited to tell me about that. And then
Right.
I
And then you just fucking
I just
ruin their whole
minimize
day.
I just
because-
minimize what they. Yeah.
So I catch it in small things a lot, where then I try to like later go back if it's after the fact, or sometimes even right there, I'll even catch myself and go, hey man, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, I'm glad you brought that up because I had a situation last night that made me go back and think about, damn, I did that. They were so excited to tell me something, but the thing about it was I just walked into the showroom, and the staff
You're in a mode.
Yeah, and the staff coming to me.
So it was just a bad timing. Was it?
Right. And the thing is too is for them to not even be aware of. I just walked in and you just jumped on me telling me about, oh, here's my son and this and that and do this and that, Carl, do this and that. I'm just like, I only been in here 30 seconds. And you just like,
Oh.
so I'm kind of like, happy birthday. No, you know, whatever he was, I couldn't even like retain everything he was telling me because I'm just like, oh, in a way, staff was like, you all right, Carl? I'm like, yeah, I just walked in and he
was
just
a
was
lot.
boom, boom, boom. I was like, what does he want from me?
Right.
Because I'm Carl, like, give me something. You know what I mean? Like, dude, Carl, my son, he's 21 and like, do whatever. And I was just like, hey, happy birthday, man. I'm like, I was doing this first.
People, I think when you become an entertainer, and people definitely see you as an entertainer, you've been
sure.
doing this a long time.
You're a celebrity locally, is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
True.
and it's easy for people to forget you're a person in that way of they expect a certain amount of energy that you're going to transfer.
Acknowledgement.
I think they want validation from you is 90% of what it is.
Yeah.
is
And it's
they're
exactly
like,
what it is. It's like, I'm out with somebody.
Yeah.
I want to feel important.
I want to tell Carl this joke so he can
One
tell me it's
way-
funny and that it's hilarious.
one
and
way
then
I can feel
good
important.
about
Yeah,
myself.
yeah.
One way I can feel important when I'm with my friends is if I go up to a local celebrity,
Right.
and he knows
And
my
they
name.
think, they think that I know.
Because
him,
then
so.
in front of my friends, I've just established like, oh, I know this.
Half the time, I don't want my friends to know that Carl knows me.
And
That's hilarious.
and that's not a
That
bad,
explains why
that's
you
not
walk
a-
away.
Well, it's not a bad thing. You know, it's not actually a bad thing. That person's a fan. But it is important, like you said, for people to know that if that person is a celebrity, if they're known as an entertainer, they're still a normal human. And
Yeah.
Right.
And if they're there on a show night, they're very much in like a pre-mode of thinking about what they're going to do with the show.
Well, also pay attention to what I was doing before you call my name out. You interrupt.
But here's the other side is after the show, that's what that's for.
Yeah.
Right.
It's, if you really love that comic or you really love that performer, like give them that grace of like talk to him after the show.
And you can even talk to me before, but if I'm already talking to you and Zach and we handling some business, then you just interrupt and want me to come over and do it. That's why I was like, hey,
well, that's because when people are like that, it's all one track mind.
Yeah.
They're
So
just, I got to get up to Carl. I got to tell him this. I got to tell him about
that's
this.
a good example.
It doesn't matter what he's doing because they don't think about that.
Right.
They don't have that self-awareness like we were talking about in the beginning.
Right.
So they're just like, I just got to get this off my chest and have Carl think it's funny and let people know that
It's a great
I know
example
Carl.
of that. Like my arrogance let me do this thing that maybe is even out of character. Like they probably wouldn't have interrupted you in a given day, but it's.
But if you can take a step back, like if you're already a performer, you can realize and like, okay, this guy has a job to do. He's got all this stuff on his mind. He's got to organize.
Exactly.
He's got to organize the show. He's got to sit people down. He's got to do all this shit. It's like,
that's exactly what was happening.
I'll just talk to him after the show because he's too busy right now.
Yeah, my confidence in stand up came from being invited in with the big dogs.
Right. Because you know what you've done. And stuff, so
when I started.
Man, I've been on big stages.
Yeah, when I started to work with the Monique's, the Bill Bebb and all that, and they really appreciated me, and they were doing other things to help me move further. And I just started. That's a lot of my confidence started coming in. Like, oh shit! And my girl always remind me sometimes, just like,
it's like somebody above your level telling you you're doing a good job means the world.
Oh
means the world.
Yeah, exactly.
That gives you confidence.
And then I had to get the arrogance piece to do this. I want to do me.
The arrogance is what allows you to try to learn what your voice is as comic.
Exactly.
Well, because you guys have to try. You have to try new jokes and new material every single time. So you have to have.
You have to fail,
arrogance.
and you can't fail on stage in front of a crowd without arrogance.
Right.
Because if you don't have arrogance and you fail, you're going to crumple. So you have to have enough arrogance to stand up there proud, even though you failed technically.
And you see,
you still did that show. You stood up there and you were yourself. You believed in your jokes and you told your jokes.
Fuck you! I know this is funny.
Exactly.
I know this is funny.
Because I wondered too. Because like Zach, in your field, seems like everybody's trying to be a real estate agent.
We have a lot. Just in John L. Scott alone here locally, we have 200 agents.
It's a lot of people. All of a sudden,
my office has 160, and then we have the Ashland office.
There's 42 offices.
Oh, there's I don't even know total in real estate here. Oh my gosh,
there's like 40, 42 or something.
You got John L. Scott, you got Remax, you got
those are just the big ones. And then there's like all the ones.
You got all the
subs,
and then you got these other people that are doing like the remote thing with EXP, and everybody has their own group, and they have this stuff. So it's
because real estate is very much like that.
Yeah.
Like I was in it, and I wasn't an agent, but I got my license, and I was working.
You were in the same industry and stuff.
Basically, as an assistant and a marketing guy, and what I noticed is that very much. You have to have some arrogance in that first year.
You do.
To fake it before you make it.
You have
to tell people like, hey, I'm new.
Yeah.
But I've done my research. I know the market. I'm enthusiastic. And you know I'm going to work harder than an established agent.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. And a lot of people don't understand that. So in the beginning, when I started 4 years ago, I was snubbed by even friends, close people to me because they were like,
they don't want to give you a chance.
They know the personal Zach. They know the silly, funny Zach. They don't know the business
He's not going to
Zach,
take it serious.
The sales Zach, the guy that knows how to come in and sell an igloo to an Eskimo. And so there was a lot of like, no, we don't want to go with you because you don't know what you're doing. But they don't understand that someone that new to the industry that doesn't have anything going on, I'm gonna be there at 9 o'clock when you have to call me about a question or something about listing your property or something. I'm gonna be there any day that you want to see a property or I'm gonna work 10 times harder than an agent that's established and has 10, 20 clients that they're working with because I have nothing else going on and this is how I survive.
I mean, that's a good point because we are.
Think about a performer.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're coming up, you do the performances of your life because it matters.
And you do any performance.
Yeah, I'm doing anything. What?
You birthday party?
I'll drive to Mississippi for $200 and do that show because that.
And guess what? You'll treat that shitty show just as
that's it.
Yeah, like you're in Madison Square Garden.
I'm not saying your house is shitty, but some of them are.
My first road gig was a Greyhound trip from Arizona, Phoenix to North Dakota.
Jeez.
On a Greyhound. And I think all I got was $100 a night. I think that's what I got.
Remember when you didn't get paid?
Right.
I mean, that's exactly. I talk about that a lot. Is I'm really, really lucky to know Levi. because had I not known Levi and had I not known Ben, those two people made it possible for me to start getting paid in comedy before I really deserved to get paid in comedy.
That's a good point you said that.
Because most comics do not get paid their first year.
Matty, do you know how many of them think they should be getting paid and they only did 6 months? A lot of and that's what I'm noticing.
Or like if you're a comic and you can only do 5 to 10 minutes and you think you deserve to get paid
$20, you
go to a bigger area.
Go to a bigger area and you wouldn't get your stage time will be because you created something on your own.
Unless
nobody will invite your ass in because you're not.
Yeah, if you can't kill a half an hour set.
Yeah. So that fucks with a comedian's confidence. They think, oh, I'm a professional pay. You just got paid $20 to do Morton's Pizza. That's not.
And you had to pay for your pizza. You had to pay for your pizza.
I laughed because I was happy to get $20 to play Morton's Pizza. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But you think, but you are humble and you understand the process.
And God bless
there's
Morton's.
levels to this shit.
God bless Morton's Pizza for allowing comedy.
True.
Yeah, we are not talking
that wasn't
shit.
a dig.
That was the first time I ever saw you. It was right when I started real estate. It was like 2018, and you guys were doing the Road Comedy Underground stand-up shows. It was like you,
Dustin
Ben was there, Dustin was there.
Yeah.
The dude came out in like the short pineapples with the matching shirt.
Nick.
Big guy. Yeah, he was funny as fuck. I liked him. And you were emceeing it and running the whole thing.
Yeah. So, but like I said, there was a time, man, because my confidence was becoming much more of a pro. That's when you realize these. It's
what's cool
people
too.
People are fooled now.
And you don't even realize it, but Carl, when he gives a lot of the local comics opportunities to do guest hosting at Chadwick's once they've kind of cut their teeth and he's gone and seen that they can consistently be funny. Not like he's giving everybody an opportunity.
Right.
But if he's seen that you're consistently funny, he'll give you an opportunity. And, you may not know this, but a lot of these guys and girls, when you give them that shot, they almost look at like being on Chadwick's stage as one of the first levels.
That's it.
Right.
A level.
Yeah, like
one
I
level.
made it to Chadwick's.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I've seen how, because of your opportunities, I've seen how their confidence has like blossomed. Like, I was at Chadwick's, Now they go on stage like, I'm a Chadwick's.
I
can
kill this show.
Sure, I only hosted. I didn't get a feature spot, but I was on that stage.
So they were pros.
It's just like if I had hosted the Apollo, do you think I'd be any less proud than if I had killed the Apollo in a half an hour set? No,
true.
Like, I would be just as happy to host it.
And that's one reason why Steve Harvey is where he's at, because the Apollo was that opportunity for his confidence. Like, boom, I'm doing something. It was like compared to what he's doing now.
Of all the things I wish
he got,
but that's what got
it. Boom.
Of all the things I wish I could do as a comic, I wish I could rewind time and go back and do a set at the Apollo, because as a white comic, I want to know if I could have. I want to know if I could have killed it.
Yeah.
That's like. It sounds so dumb, and maybe it's
it's
like a privileged comment to say, but I feel like as a white comic, there would be no better frame of reference for how good you were if in the late 80s, early 90s, if you could kill the Apollo as a white guy. Damn,
you said it.
I would have had goosebumps if I killed the Apollo and I walked off. It could have been like I could get hit by a car that night, and I'm
that's the equivalent. That was that was the equivalent of me being on the Bob and Tom show,
right?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I was just like, who?
Or like Last Comic Standing or something.
Yeah. Well, no, Bob and Tom show, because Bob and Tom show
they were huge.
It's more of a redneck,
right?
And very colorblind.
Yeah.
So having you on there, it's like
it was. Yeah, and when I got the call to be on it, and I was there, and I was and I'm like, this is dope as shit. And then I started realizing that level to this shit. And I'm
now performing at the Grand Ole Opry, Carl Lee.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man.
And people don't realize.
That's the truth, yeah.
People don't realize that Freeway, that does shows at Road Comedy Underground, Freeway Farrell. Yeah, he does
Louisiana's finest.
He does
New Orleans, homie.
He does an amazing job of both hosting and being a comic. And that's a hard thing to do both.
And producing.
But he's got old school radio cred. Like Freeway was on the air.
He sure does.
And the reason why it's special to get a chance to see him on stage is because a radio comic has to know a whole different set of skills to be funny, because people can't see you.
Right.
So like I sell a lot of my jokes with my body posture, my face expressions, and how I'm standing, my volume,
energy,
body language. People can see you.
All he gets when he was on the radio is vocal inflection.
Yeah,
that's the only thing he has to sell it with, and that's a special kind of talent. And when you hear him host, or when you hear him do crowd work, especially when he's doing shows, he's really good at that. It's a different feel than with other
Yeah.
comics. And anyway, just a shout out for Freeway. 'cause
Yeah.
Shout out.
He's got that radio thing.
So
It's
with
good.
all this, would it be safe to say that arrogance kind of helps you get to where you want to be, and confidence is what keeps you there?
in any endeavor
That
in
makes
your
sense,
life
Zach.
as
That
a
makes
man,
sense.
yes.
You know
That
what I'm
makes a
saying?
lot of sense.
Any endeavor as a man, yes. I don't believe this is true for women. I don't believe that you always have to use it as a woman. I think
Right.
that sometimes as a woman you can get by without having to use arrogance. You can very easily kind of just go, hey, I don't really know and I'm here to learn. But as a
Right.
man, because of the way the world works, a lot of times we have to use arrogance to get us in the door because we have to look like we know what we're talking about.
Now, that's a good point.
It's
now.
changing, thankfully.
It's like,
It's
yeah,
changing.
I can
It's
fix that.
okay now
I can
to be
fix
less
that for you,
confident.
and you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm
Yeah.
doing, but I'm gonna figure it out.
But back in the day, especially like in the early '90s, like, oh yeah, it was all fake it. It was
Yeah,
it was
fake
like,
it.
yeah, I can do that half an hour gig, and you take that half
And
an
I
hour
think-
gig. You didn't have a half an
Yeah.
hour's worth of comedy,
Yeah.
but you knew you needed
Did
that
it, yeah,
opportunity,
yeah.
and you would fake the fuck out of it. Like, oh, I got 45 minutes.
So
Fake it-
check this
that's
out.
Fake it till you make it. Arrogance, confidence.
Yeah, so check this out. You
But I
brought
just
up-
mean to say, women are a little smarter with it. They don't always have to play that role.
Now,
Right.
see, that's a good point, man.
Right.
Now, men feel like if they're not confident, that woman won't look at them the same.
Right.
They're insecure. Oh, he's not
And
confident.
that's an insecurity.
Yeah. So I've seen some women too. So how, let's see how a woman functions. Matic, you just brought that up. Is that important to them? Like, I wonder, like, because I want to ask
For a
some
guy to have
females.
confidence?
No, for that female, how does she function? Thinking about her confidence, does she
Right.
feel I'm not confident enough, or it don't fucking matter because I'm a woman?
Right.
I
And,
think-
and if ladies that are listening to this right now or watching this right now, comment and tell us what you think about it. I mean, that's
Comment.
that's what Carl's saying. He wants
Yeah,
to know.
I want to know, ladies. What
Right.
does
Yeah.
that mean
So
to you?
reach out to Heckleproof.
Yeah.
You can get
I
us.
feel like I've seen it both ways though. Like where a girl doesn't have a lot of confidence, but like they're very pretty, they present well. And
Yeah.
it's like, but they talk bad about themselves. And
Yes,
that's
exactly.
very prevalent in my generation. is a lot of-
Self-deprecation is a form of
Right.
confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of comics use it.
But for us as men, outside looking in, like
It's a
us
weaker
looking
form,
at a
but it's
girl
a
that's
form.
like, oh, I look like shit. I'm this, I'm that, and it's like, no, you're not. You're fucking gorgeous.
But good point you made. But we've seen those that are gorgeous
right,
can be the most insecure.
right.
Well,
They can be
think
the
about
most
this.
professional.
Think
They
about
got
this.
a great career. They got this and that. But the insecurities.
How many girls do you think, now that you look the way you do, now that you got yourself together, you got your personal insecurities you worked on physically to get to a point where you like who you are physically
Right.
and you feel good. You feel like you look good. You're
the
where
most
you
part.
want to be for the most part, right?
Yeah.
So how do you think women, how many women do you think have seen you, thought you were cute, but decided not to take a shot because you were a little too cute? And they were like, I don't think he's going to like me. Like, he's kind of a good-looking dude, and
Yep.
I don't want to look like an
now you
idiot.
say that, I feel like
That's a good point.
I have.
I think
'cause
that happens a lot more.
Yeah.
than
there
you
has
think.
been, because there's been a couple times where I've talked to girls and they're like, I would never thought you would have talked to me. And I'm like,
Right.
why?
Yeah.
And they're
And
like,
I bring
because
that up
you are that and
because
I'm this. And I'm
it
like,
happens-
wait, what?
It happens both ways.
like, what are you
It
talking
does.
about?
It happens.
If you're a really attractive woman, a lot of times you don't.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
automatically
Yeah.
X yourself
Yeah.
out and you're like, well, I
Right.
don't have a chance.
Yeah, the guy's like, oh, I'd never get a girl like that.
And
Right.
some women even say, well, men are intimidated by me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Right.
you killed your last husband, bitch.
Right.
Well, that's a good.
And sometimes that's arrogance,
Yeah.
and sometimes
Yes.
that's confidence.
Yes.
If they're like, yeah, every dude loves me, and like,
Or
I can't
just
resist
the
me.
fact that they just wish guys wouldn't see them that way.
Right.
Right.
Like they're intimidated by me. I'm just because
Like-
I'm successful because I have this.
Yeah.
And it's like
I know a girl that's that way. She just has this look. I mean, she looks like a freaking supermodel.
Yeah.
And I met her through music. She was like a wife of a friend of mine, and they eventually didn't work out. And then I saw her like in a single sense, which I had never seen before, and that was what happened to her. She was like really, really physically attractive, even from a long ways away. It was like, damn, who's that? And I watched, like, I would go to the bars and I'd see her out, you know, and I would watch guys from afar just look at her like I would never ever get a chance at her.
Yeah.
And just sit there and pine like, oh man, like I wish
Yeah.
I was the kind of guy.
God, I
and
wish
yet
I was fit. I
she's
wish I
sitting at the bar alone, and she's out at the bar because she's single, hoping a guy will come talk to her, and no
Right.
one's talking to her because they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't got
yeah,
shot.
because
Well, it was a similar thing that happened with me and my girlfriend. Is like I saw her and I was like, God, this girl's so gorgeous. Like I was like, nah, she's
Yeah.
probably
She's not gonna give me
I'm
the
like,
time of
she's
day.
not gonna give me the time of day. She's probably got all these guys, coming and like, I was like, I'm not even gonna bother. But it happened through natural conversation, and we were like, and then it's like.
But then let me guess, like the way you approached her was all confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though you were feeling that.
Yeah.
Even though you weren't feeling that.
That was the arrogance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So look what happens.
I had to present some arrogance.
Zach got himself the girl that he wanted to get, which he's very happy with. Zach got himself the girl he wanted to get using arrogance in a healthy way.
Yep.
So let that be the theme of the podcast.
That's it.
Someone calls you arrogant, like second guess it. Like, is it a good one or a bad one? Maybe it's a bad one, but also
there's definitely good arrogance.
Exactly.
Also, maybe it's that arrogance that got me that raise when I walked in confidently to the boss's office and said, I'm going to walk unless you pay me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's that.
It's like anything with growth. I mean, arrogance, I feel like, relates to being uncomfortable. You have to. I don't ever know a time when I've been arrogant that I was comfortable with being arrogant. You know what I mean? Because if you're comfortable, it's just confidence at that point.
Well, again, that night. But then maybe the next day you're like, oh, fuck,
yeah, true. That night you're like, fuck, I actually was arrogant.
So speaking of arrogance, I got some weird news stories for you, and the weird news stories always revolve around arrogance. So it might be a thing.
Is that still on here?
I feel like at one point you're gonna get your buttons figured out.
Yeah.
I know.
I wish you would push your own buttons.
What you talking?
You talk about Willis.
Half black.
Oh, Half Black is in there.
I'm too old for
that?
this shit.
I'm too old for this shit.
What's that?
This is a newspaper, right?
Oh, I have them saved as screenshots because I'm.
I thought we had what the fuck on here.
What you
We did at one point, and you probably
got rid of it because you probably hit it while you was beating off.
This is a new.
I deleted it on
here. Let's do it. Let's
probably recorded.
Oh, wait, no, it's right here.
one step.
Hey, what the fuck?
Facts. There we go.
There it is.
We go.
The
Still
last
in
one I
there.
hit. The
It's
last-
still in there.
the
All
last
right.
one I
What
hit.
the fuck? Facts.
Today's episode of What the Fuck Facts
Yeah.
is brought to you by Arrogance. It's really good that this ended up working out because a lot of these stories involve extreme amounts of arrogance, and this first one is no exception. The first story comes out of Michigan, and by the way,
Not Florida.
I'm making an effort to be more current. Some of the stories I brought to you guys may have been a
It happened an hour ago.
few months old, and it takes a while for each one of these episodes to come out. So Maddie's working a little harder, and each one of these stories happened within the last 4 months.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I can confidently say that 4 months within our release date. So
Being confident, not arrogantly confident.
the first story comes out of Michigan. A Michigan judge ordered parents who trashed their son's porn collection to pay him $30,000.
What kind of collection did he
What
have?
kind of collection did he have?
Oh, this story is a spicy one. They were forced to pay their son more than $30,000. We'll get into why it's more later. After he sued them for destroying his extensive porn collection. And here's the thing is over the past 38 years, well, probably not 38 because he's 38. So let's go with over the past.
No.
We're going to go with over the past 20 years. David Working curated an impressive collection of DVDs and VHS tapes.
I knew the VHS had to come up in there.
They were valuable.
Yeah.
He could be
That's
described.
what V
Originals.
stands for. Viable Hornies
Selection.
Selection. He could be described as a movie buff, somebody says in this article, which is just bad writing. But check it out. So
Movie buffer.
Buffer.
he is a fluffer.
Bruce Buffer.
Remarkably, he brought the matter in front of a judge, claiming that most of this collection was irreplaceable because the films were either out of print or they'd been made by studios that no longer existed.
Oh.
So that's the angle he came from, is it's not regular porn. This is fancy, endangered.
This was made by the San Francisco 69ers, and they're no longer around.
Right. Or at least they moved them. Now they're the Oakland 69.
Exactly. They moved him in the middle of the night.
Right. So anyway, this district judge, that's how far up in court it went, ruled that the parents owed him not only $30,000 for destroying the personal property, but also, more hilarious, is he was ordered also a judgment of $14,500 for legal costs.
Wow.
So the judge was like, yep, I'm going to stick his parents with $40,000+ of judgment because they trashed their son's collection. Now, here's what happened. Okay. So backstory to this story is that he was in the middle of a divorce. So he temporarily came back to live with his parents, like
Okay.
at 38.
That explains. Okay.
His His porn collection was temporarily at his parents' house.
Like, you're not bringing this in our house.
He moves to his new house. So he wasn't freeloading and living in their basement.
Right.
He gets a new place, and he moves to the new place. He gets most of his stuff over there. And after a few months or whatever, he comes back for the last of his stuff to discover that his porn was thrown out. And his dad acknowledges very freely, like, yeah, we destroyed your porn.
After I watched it.
No one needs that much porn.
Mom, what the fuck? You burned glad he ate her? What the fuck?
Harry Twatter. Where's my Harry Twatter?
Right.
Where's my poke up on this? What the fuck? Even shitty bang bang, the anal one?
Titty bang bang. Titty anal one, yeah. Shitty bang bang.
Shitty bang bang.
But imagine the arrogance that it takes to against your parents. Can you imagine suing your parents? Mom, I went to jerk it and my stuff wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. Like you walking around with a sock on it.
And you got another $7,000 for
with a sock on it. Just hot.
I'm supposed to just jerk it from memory. Mom,
what are you doing with that erection in my house? She said to him. What are you doing with that erection in my house?
Hey, so my mom owes me money then. You know how many condoms my mom threw out?
Oh gosh.
My mom would find condoms. I would hide
That's how
them.
careful I was. I would wear a condom when I was jerking off.
Shit. I hid condoms in my neighbor's house. My mom went and found them.
Walking around the house smell like rubbers because you
So
just
my
masturbated.
mom owes me money.
Wouldn't that be what, like,
For my magnums.
wouldn't Batman's whole body smell like that after a day of crime fighting? Would just smell like he had a body condom on.
Exactly.
Batman, sponsored by Durex.
Exactly. He smelled like straight leather and ball sweat.
Ew.
Fruit of the loom, if you will.
You got another one, Matty?
I do. You want some more arrogance?
Let's hear it.
Guess where this one comes from?
Florida.
Yes. Yeah. Because I love to please you.
Yeah.
I do.
Well.
I do.
Well.
Yeah. What's happening under the table?
I don't know.
Follow us on Patreon to find out. Exclusive under table cams on Patreon for only $10.99 a month.
Subscribe to our OnlyFans.
A naked woman drunk drove a golf cart through a SWAT standoff.
What?
Holy shit.
This is why I love Florida stories. There's always onion layers to them.
Something
It's
that's
like,
never happened ever.
Was this at a country club?
Remember the altar story was like the preacher had to burn the altar because they had an orgy on it.
Yeah.
And they filmed it. And
It was like
the
how- it
layers
just
got
kept going
worse.
and going and
That's
going.
how this is. A
She was doing
naked
something
woman
too.
drunk drove golf carts through a SWAT standoff
At a
in
country club.
Florida.
While giving head
Was
to
it a country
priest.
club?
To a priest.
No, it was not a country club, but I think you're gonna like this one.
Oh, gosh.
So this one was in September.
Okay.
Responding to an emergency call involving 3 suspicious teenagers, officers arrived at the intersection of Fairway Drive and Harrison Drive, only for one of the suspects to brandish a gun and flee. Keep in mind, this is not yet about the woman. This is what happened.
Yeah,
before.
yeah, there we go.
Right,
This is
right,
the
right.
SWAT situation, right?
Right.
They released a canine unit to track him as he climbed into a home and began firing his gun at passersby. Identified as an 18-year-old kid.
Jeez.
So anyhow, this 18-year-old kid spurred a 6-hour standoff involving a SWAT team, and then things turned weird when he accidentally shot himself in the leg. At the same time, a drunk nude woman appeared. Not appeared from the house where the standoff was, appeared on the scene of the standoff. Imagine being the cops, like, you're like, fuck, we have been here for 6 fucking hours and we can't get this guy out of the house. And then all of a sudden, this
Something's
bitch
gotta
is just
happen.
like,
Something's gotta happen.
meep. He comes through naked. It's a naked white woman, just full of privilege. All right. So,
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
so he shoots himself in the leg at the same time as this chick shows up, like right at the
my
perfect
goodness.
time. She's 28 years old. Her name is Jessica Elizabeth Smith of Boston, Mass.
That sounds white privilege name.
No.
Jessica Elizabeth Smith.
Elizabeth Smith
That
of
sounds
Boston,
white privilege.
Massachusetts.
Yes, that's straight white
No
privilege.
reason why she's in Florida anyway. So the uninvited newcomer barrels through the crime scene in a golf cart. She paid no mind to the police cars, serving as a makeshift barricade to keep civilians at bay, and ignored orders to leave while drunkenly careening around the scene.
You want to touch my tits, officer?
Her actions and inability to follow directions, that's how they put it, Her inability to follow directions put multiple deputies at risk for potentially getting shot at. The defendant had a distinct odor of alcoholic beverage coming from her person, and she was completely nude. And in the end, the standoff concluded with her receiving, the 18-year-old receiving medical care for a self-inflicted gunshot wound before being charged with loitering and prowling. He definitely had to be white.
Yeah.
He's shooting at people and he gets loitering and prowling. I mean, it doesn't say he's white, but tell me you're white without saying you're white.
Tell me you're white without saying you're white.
Just charge him like we charge the other Mormons, loitering and prowling.
Right.
And just soaking.
So he gets so these are the charges. He gets loitering and prowling. He gets felony possession of a firearm, carrying a concealed weapon, and resisting an officer. As for the girl, she was charged with resisting an officer without violence. Which is a new one. I didn't know that was a charge.
Another white.
Resisting an officer without violence? What's that, like a fucking sit-in?
That's
you're
like
under arrest. She's like, no thanks.
She's like, I'm sitting in this cop car until the judge orders me to get out.
You're under arrest. No thanks.
No thanks.
No thanks.
So
I'll pass.
This one would be #audacity.
Audacity.
The audacity of this hoe.
Audacity of the golf cart hoe.
Yeah, you want one more?
Yes. Uno mas.
You like the arrogance theme? You want to keep rolling with the arrogance stories?
Let's do it.
All right. A Catholic bishop has resigned after falling in love with a satanic erotica novelist.
He was fired.
No, he's resigned. He's self-selected out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
they gave him the option. Do you want to be fired or should you just step away?
Before he resigned, though, he did actively support conversion therapy, which I don't know if you know what conversion therapy is.
Hell yeah, they try to do that for the people that, like, a lot of
The Exorcist or what?
Well, a lot of religions try to do that, convert their gays back to straight.
If you exhibit
you'll go
behavior.
to a camp. They'll send your ass to a camp and make you do manly shit and thinking you're gonna come back different. Now you just want to fuck a man more.
Yeah. I chopped down a tree. I don't want to suck dick no more.
Now you went to a 30-day camp.
Exactly. Yeah.
You went to a 30-day camp where you had to think about fucking a man.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Made him want to.
Around other men.
It may have just been a wild weekend.
This
you
don't
got
work. I want to suck even more dicks.
Yeah, put a gay dude in a camp with a bunch of lesbians.
They turn into
And see how that shit works.
That does sound like a reality show.
It does.
So check this out. He became a Catholic bishop in 2010. He's 41 years old, the youngest bishop in all of Spain. And it seems like the devout citizens found him to be a pretty good representation of their faith. He seemed to have a great reputation. He announced his resignation around August because he claimed that he was falling in love with this satanic writer. She was not only a writer, but she was a writer of satanic erotica. So she's writing sexy books. Now, check this out. Here's how they met. He had previously had no contact with her. He had nothing but pure intentions when he contacted her because her novels were filled with information about the occult and demonology. He was actually seeking her out because he felt that she might make him being more efficient at being an exorcist. So he claims that he was consulting, even though she's demonic, he was just consulting so that he would be better at getting rid of demons. Because that's legit. That's a thing.
The demons got him.
The power of Christ will compel you.
Right. So the power of Christ compelled him to, slide into the DMs and
into that demon, to that demon mooch.
The demons.
The demons. The demons DMs. And rather than just learning a little bit about the subject, he fell in love with her. And
look at the Lord working.
He promptly abandoned his post. He said, I've fallen in love and I want to do things properly. He divulged the matter to the Vatican officials who discussed it with the Pope and himself before going public. So he went straight up the ladder and was like, I'm in love and I've never felt this way before. And she's a satanic hoe. And that's okay because I'm using the dough.
I'm in love with the devil.
And then she broke up with him.
I'm under her umbrella.
Ella.
I'm in love with the devil.
Right.
He
was watching that Lucifer show too much.
I'm glad that he chose to go that route instead of fucking with boys.
That's true. That's what a lot of people were
Shit,
commenting
sure.
on this story.
Yeah.
Was
Fuck
like,
with all
well,
the demon bitches.
Shit.
people were commenting, number one, that at least it was a woman, and number two, that it was age appropriate.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
the same age,
Like,
you know.
yeah,
So
he
that's
got the hell out the game before he got crazy for his
two
ass.
positives for the Catholics.
Good job.
Right.
Good job.
But then
Yeah.
he self-selects out, which is weird. It's like
So he pulled out.
it's like being a good player and
What's that
choosing to go to the Raiders.
Well, right now,
That's a sports
They just
joke
lost
brought
in
to
the
you
well,
by
this
Matty.
season wouldn't be a bad time to go to
They
the
just
Raiders.
lost.
Well, that would-
Well, this was a good season.
They did make it to the playoffs, but they lost.
Oh, surprising! They had a good start and didn't finish it. That surprises us.
Like
Is that
Dallas-
what we're talking about
the
right
Dallas
now?
Cowboys.
Sorry, JP. I love you, brother.
Sorry.
But anyway, he had not only been a staunch supporter of gay conversion therapy, but admitted himself to having undergone the practice. So at one point in time, he had some gay thoughts, and he went to conversion and washed them clean. No longer thinks about gay dudes.
No
And
longer.
instead-
Oh, so he was thinking about his shit.
And
Wow.
instead, he read about this demon porn.
Yep. Demon
mean, 'cause-
semen.
Right. I don't know what the
Demon semen.
appeal
Demon
is
semen.
of the demon porn.
Demon semen.
What makes demon
Demon
erotica?
semen. Skate for Satan. Skate for Satan. Skate for Satan. What?
This is only mildly uncomfortable.
Which part? This is what you
just
read
all
on
of
me.
it. Just all of it.
Demon semen.
Well, that's a good way to end the episode.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Well, we want to thank our new sponsors. We really
Yeah,
appreciate
baby.
having you guys on board.
Thank you.
I want to
Absolutely.
thank because we got the point.
Thank you, next.
Not only is the point our sponsors, but they provided us with weapons.
Weapons of mass
You can
destruction.
knock a motherfucker out on your hike, bitch. If you don't get the
You know what
on
I-
your hike, on your hike.
You know what I like about that bottle right there too?
What?
That is the perfect size for the whiskey and Coke that I'd like to make.
damn.
Perfect size. That's my
Damn.
Moscow Mule size right there.
Well, I like
Damn.
to make a whiskey and Coke where basically it's going to last the whole night.
Carl
I
just
only
says-
want to make one of them.
Carl just says, damn, because he doesn't know
Damn.
anything about alcohol.
I
Damn.
know. Damn. That should be my name of alcohol. Damn.
it should
Because whatever,
seem-
whatever response, whatever you get, this ain't. I ain't drunk. Damn.
Remember-
I am drunk.
You remember cold cock malt liquor? Remember that on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
With the little fist would come out of the can and strike you in the face. And
Oh, yeah, that was like
hilarious.
the older.
Yeah.
the older.
malt liquor. And I think it was one of the first times.
Was that
when,
around the time
Chris
with, like-
Rock hosted? And
Uh-huh.
I think
With
it
like
was-
Yeah.
sweaty balls and all those.
Way
Those
before.
ones? That was before sweaty balls?
Way before.
Really?
Yeah. Way before.
sweaty
No,
balls.
this was
Yeah.
like when Martin Lawrence
Okay.
got kicked off SNL.
Got kicked
Gotcha.
off.
It was
Sure
right around that
did.
time.
Gotcha.
Sure
Yeah.
did.
Yep.
All right. Well,
So
it's been a
anyway-
great episode.
Anyway, we
Yeah,
appreciate you
guys.
guys. We got even more coming for
Thanks
you
for
soon.
tuning in.
I want to
Yeah.
tell you guys about, we got another episode you're going to see from us again, but then we got a really fun special guest who's going to come on.
Don't
We'll
ruin
do
it for
our
him.
next. So stick around.
Stick
you
around.
got to get through these episodes
Stick
with us so
around.
you can get to the extra special guest.
Extra specials.
All right. Thanks, y'all, for tuning in.
Holla at your boy. Peace.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow us wherever fine podcasts are streaming.